The sound of medical equipment chirping filled the examination room as Dr. Zivex, the chief surgeon at the Galactic Medical Exchange Program, stared with his 4 amber eyes at the peculiar appendage attached to his human patient. In his 15 solar cycles as an exobiology specialist, he had never encountered anything quite like this. The artificial limb was crude by Nevorian standards, but clearly functional, a testament to human ingenuity with limited resources. "You keep looking at it like it might bite you," said Kyle Jackson, the human sitting on the examination table. His voice carried an edge of amusement mixed with slight discomfort. Dr. Zivex's skin rippled with blue patterns, the Nevorian equivalent of raised eyebrows. "I am simply fascinated by the construction. Our scans detected both organic and synthetic materials, but I did not expect this level of integration." His voice came through the translator with a slight electronic hum. "May I inquire how you lost the original limb?" Kyle's expression hardened. "Lost the original in a war. Earth's resource conflict of 2039. I was a combat medic." Dr. Zivex's skin pulsed with a pattern that Kyle had learned indicated surprise or interest. The alien surgeon's slender fingers, each tipped with sensitive pads capable of detecting minute temperature changes and electrical impulses, hovered over the prosthetic knee joint. "May I?" he asked, waiting for permission. Kyle nodded. "Go ahead, Doc. Just remember it's attached to the rest of me." The surgeon carefully examined the connection point where flesh met technology. His touch was surprisingly gentle for a being with skin that resembled polished obsidian. "Remarkable. Our species has encountered many forms of artificial replacement, but human integration techniques are distinctive." "That's one way of putting it," Kyle said, watching the alien's careful examination. "On Earth, this is about mid-range quality, nothing fancy, but it gets the job done. Military insurance only covers so much." Dr. Zivex's assistant, a younger Nevorian named Telax, entered the room carrying a tray of scanning instruments. Unlike his mentor, Telax had never worked with humans before, and his excitement was evident in the rapid color changes flickering across his facial ridges. "The preliminary genetic profile is complete, Dr. Zivex," Telax reported, then paused, staring at Kyle's prosthetic. "Is that primitive technology?" Kyle laughed, but there was little humor in it. "Watch who you're calling primitive, kid. This primitive technology has carried me across 3 continents and now to your space station. Doctor." Zivex made a low, trilling sound that Kyle's translator didn't catch, some kind of rebuke to his assistant, judging by how Telax's colors immediately shifted to a dull gray. "Please forgive my colleague's indiscretion," Dr. Zivex said. "He is unfamiliar with human customs and sensitivities." "No offense taken," Kyle replied, though his tense posture suggested otherwise. "I've heard worse. This war," Dr. Zivex continued, redirecting the conversation while adjusting one of the scanning devices. "Was it widespread on your planet?" Kyle's gaze became distant. "Widespread enough." "Fought over water rights in what used to be the American Southwest. Some called it a civil conflict, others an insurgency. Whatever the label, bullets and landmines don't discriminate." "Landmine." Dr. Zivex repeated the unfamiliar term, his translator taking a moment to process it. "Ah, a subterranean explosive, barbaric yet effective. That's what got my leg," Kyle confirmed. "I was extracting a wounded civilian when I stepped on one, didn't see it coming." Dr. Zivex's colors shifted to a deep purple, a sign of sympathy or perhaps respect. "Yet you survived." "Human resilience continues to impress our medical community." "Wasn't much choice in the matter," Kyle said. "My team got me out. Good thing, too, I lost a lot of blood." The alien surgeon moved a scanning device over the length of the prosthetic. The connection points show signs of inflammation. Does it cause you pain? Kyle hesitated. Sometimes. More so since I've been on the station. Different gravity, maybe. Quite possibly, Dr. Zivex agreed. Our artificial gravity is calibrated for multiple species, but it may not be ideal for your prosthetics calibration. He put down the scanner. I would like to propose something, Mr. Jackson. Kyle is fine. Kyle, the surgeon amended. The interspecies medical exchange program that brought you here as our liaison offers certain benefits. We could replace this prosthetic with Nevorian biotechnology. A fully functional limb, nearly indistinguishable from your original. Kyle's eyes widened. You can regrow limbs, not regrow, Dr. Zivex clarified. But our synthetic biological constructs integrate with host tissue more completely than this device. You would have sensation, Mr. Jackson. Kyle. You would feel texture, temperature, pressure. For a moment, Kyle seemed speechless, then he shook his head. I don't know, Doc. This leg and I have history. Dr. Zivex's colors swirled in a pattern Kyle couldn't interpret. History is valuable, but so is function. Consider it at least. The procedure would be covered under your exchange program contract. Kyle nodded slowly. I'll think about it. Excellent, Dr. Zivex said, making notes on his data pad. Now, let us complete your baseline examination. You are the first human to serve as medical liaison on this station, and we must ensure your health while you teach us about human physiology. As the examination continued, Kyle found himself reflecting on the strange turn his life had taken. From battlefield medic to diplomatic medical liaison for an alien race, all because he had applied to a program that needed humans with medical experience who were adaptable to unusual circumstances. The next day, Kyle reported to the medical bay for his shift. The Galactic Medical Exchange Station orbited a neutral planet called Viridian, serving as a hub where different species could share medical knowledge. As the first human liaison, Kyle's job was to help the alien medical staff understand human physiology while learning about their techniques. Dr. Zivex was already there, discussing something with the station's director, a tall Selenian named Dr. Alara, whose crystalline exoskeleton glinted under the medical bay's lights. Ah, Kyle, Dr. Zivex greeted him. We were just discussing your case. Kyle raised an eyebrow. My case. I thought I was staff, not a patient. Dr. Alara's voice came through the translator with a musical quality. You are both, Mr. Jackson. Your prosthetic presents a unique opportunity for our research division. Right, Kyle said cautiously. About that offer yesterday, you have decided, Dr. Zivex's colors brightened with anticipation. I'm still thinking, Kyle replied, but I had some questions. This new leg, would it look human? In every way, Dr. Alara assured him. Our biosynthetic technologies adapt to host genetics. The limb would be grown using your own genetic template, modified with strength-enhancing Nevorian tissue matrices. And the procedure itself? 2 phases, Dr. Zivex explained. First, removal of the current prosthetic and preparation of the connection site. Second, attachment and neural integration of the new limb. Total recovery time, approximately 7 Earth days. 7 days, Kyle was surprised. On Earth, something like that would take months of physical therapy. Our neural integration techniques accelerate the process considerably, Dr. Alara said with what might have been pride. You would be the first human to receive such treatment, but we have performed similar procedures on 15 other species with 94% success rates. And the other 6%, Kyle asked. A moment of silence followed. Complications varied, Dr. Zivex finally said. But none were fatal. That's reassuring, Kyle replied dryly. The conversation was interrupted by an emergency alert. Red lights pulsed throughout the medical bay. "Incoming emergency transport," announced the station's AI. "Transport shuttle from mining colony on Viridian's moon. Multiple casualties. Impact trauma and decompression injuries." The medical bay burst into activity. Kyle watched as the alien medical staff moved with practiced efficiency, preparing treatment areas. "Mr. Jackson," Dr. Alara called. "Your assistance would be valuable. These miners include 3 humans." Kyle snapped into medical mode immediately, years of battlefield triage experience taking over. "Point me where you need me." The emergency doors slid open, and hovering gurneys guided by medical drones entered carrying injured miners. Most were Draci, a species of insectoid miners known for their efficiency in low-gravity environments. But as Dr. Alara had said, 3 humans were among them. Male human, approximately 40 Earth years, multiple fractures and suspected internal bleeding, reported a medical drone as it guided a gurney toward Kyle. Kyle moved quickly to the patient's side. The man was conscious but clearly in severe pain. His mining uniform was torn and bloody. "Hey there," Kyle said, checking vitals. "I'm Kyle. What's your name?" "Marcus," the man gasped. "Mining tunnel collapsed. Air seal broke." "We'll take care of you, Marcus," Kyle assured him, calling out to Dr. Zivex. "Need help here." "Human patient with crush injuries and possible decompression sickness." Dr. Zivex glided over, already scanning the injured miner. "Pneumothorax detected. Left lung collapsed. Internal hemorrhaging in the abdominal cavity." Kyle worked quickly, starting in Roman 4 while Dr. Zivex prepared emergency treatment devices unfamiliar to Kyle. "This will stabilize his pressure differentials," Dr. Zivex explained, applying a glowing blue device to Marcus's chest. "But he requires surgery immediately." "I'll prep him," Kyle said, administering pain medication. "Marcus, stay with me. We're taking you into surgery." The next hours passed in a blur of emergency procedures. Kyle found himself both teaching and learning as he worked alongside the alien medical team. The Nevorian surgical techniques were far advanced beyond Earth medicine, yet the aliens still struggled with certain aspects of human physiology. "Blood pressure dropping again," Kyle called out during Marcus's surgery. "He's going into shock, Doctor." Zivex responded with a surgical maneuver that Kyle had never seen before, using a tool that seemed to seal bleeding vessels instantly without sutures. "Remarkable," Kyle murmured. "A technique we learned from the Caldorian species," Dr. Zivex explained as he worked. "They evolved in high-pressure environments where rapid wound closure was essential for survival." By the time all the emergency cases were stabilized, Kyle was exhausted. He slumped into a chair in the recovery observation area, suddenly aware of the throbbing pain where his prosthetic connected to his leg. Dr. Zivex noticed his discomfort. "Your prosthetic is causing you pain." It wasn't a question. "The extra activity," Kyle admitted. "It's been a long day." "Yes," Dr. Zivex agreed, sitting beside him. His normally bright colors were muted, a sign of fatigue Kyle had learned. "You performed admirably today. Your experience with trauma medicine is evident." "War makes for good training, if nothing else," Kyle said grimly. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the recovery room where the miners were being monitored by medical drones. "The human patients will recover fully," Dr. Zivex said. "Thanks in no small part to your assistance." Kyle nodded. "Your surgical techniques saved Marcus's life." "On Earth with those injuries." He didn't finish the sentence. "I have been meaning to ask," Dr. Zivex said after another moment of silence. "This war that cost you your limb, was it resolved?" Kyle gave a humorless laugh. "Depends who you ask." The government says yes. People still dying from contaminated water supplies might disagree. He shifted uncomfortably. I was lucky, got medical attention quickly. A lot of civilians weren't so fortunate. Dr. Zivex's colors pulsed slowly. My species had such conflicts once before we achieved technological maturity. Resources, territory, ideology. His voice grew softer. My ancestor was a military physician as well. Kyle looked at the alien with new interest. Really? How long ago? By your measurement, approximately 600 years, Dr. Zivex said. Nevorians have longer lifespans than humans. My ancestor's memoirs are still in my family's possession. His descriptions of battlefield medicine are not dissimilar to what you have described. For the first time, Kyle felt a genuine connection with the alien surgeon. Guess some things are universal. Indeed. Dr. Zivex rose. You should rest, and please consider our offer regarding your prosthetic. After today's events, I believe it could significantly improve your quality of life. Kyle nodded slowly. I will, and thanks for sharing about your ancestor. The next morning, Kyle woke to find a data pad beside his bed with detailed information about the prosthetic procedure Dr. Zivex had proposed. As he scrolled through the technical specifications, he was impressed by the level of sophistication. The Nevorian biotechnology wasn't just a replacement, it was an enhancement. According to the information, the new limb would be grown from a combination of his own genetic material and synthetic tissues that mimicked human cellular structure, but with improved durability and neural connectivity. The procedure was expected to take 6 hours, followed by a specialized therapy regimen to integrate the limb fully with his nervous system. Kyle was still reviewing the information when his communication panel chimed. Mr. Jackson, came Dr. Alara's voice. If you're available, one of the human miners is asking to speak with you. I'll be right there, Kyle replied, pulling on his uniform and heading to the medical bay. He found Marcus, the miner he had helped stabilize the day before, sitting up in his recovery bed. The man looked remarkably improved, though still clearly in some discomfort. You must be Kyle, Marcus said when Kyle approached. They told me you helped save my life. Wanted to thank you properly. Just doing my job, Kyle replied. How are you feeling? Like a tunnel collapsed on me, Marcus said with a weak smile. But Dr. Zivex says I'll make a full recovery, said something about tissue regeneration therapy. He shook his head in wonder. Never would have survived back on Earth. Their medical technology is pretty amazing, Kyle agreed. Marcus's gaze dropped to Kyle's prosthetic leg. They told me you're some kind of liaison officer, teaching them about humans while they teach you their medicine. That's right, first human to serve on this station. Brave move, Marcus said. Most humans on Viridian aren't exactly comfortable around aliens even now. Stick to the human mining colonies mostly. He hesitated. Couldn't help noticing your leg. War injury, Kyle nodded. Resource wars back home. Heard those were rough, Marcus said. I came out here right after they started. Figured mining on another planet was safer than staying in the drought zones. He gestured to his bandaged torso. Might have miscalculated there. They both laughed, the shared dark humor of those who had seen worse. Listen, Marcus said, his tone turning serious. If these doctors offer you any of their medical upgrades, take them. The mining company brought in some Nevorian doctors last year after a major accident. Saw them reattach a guy's arm works better than it did before, he says. Kyle considered this. They've offered to replace my prosthetic with something more advanced. Do it, Marcus said without hesitation. These aliens might be strange, but their medicine is something else. After talking with Marcus, Kyle found himself wandering to the observation deck. The huge viewport showed Viridian below, a blue-green world with swirling white clouds. Earth-like, yet not Earth. Just as the aliens were humanoid, yet not human. He was still there when Dr. Zivex found him an hour later. "I thought I might find you here," the alien surgeon said. "Many species find comfort in seeing planetary bodies from orbit, a connection to something larger, perhaps. Or smaller," Kyle replied. "Puts things in perspective." Dr. Zivex moved to stand beside him, his obsidian skin reflecting the starlight. "Have you reached a decision about the procedure?" Kyle took a deep breath. "I have. I'll do it." The surgeon's colors brightened. "You will not regret this, Kyle. The procedure will significantly improve your mobility and eliminate the chronic pain you experience." "When can we do it?" "We can begin preparations immediately," Dr. Zivex said. "The actual procedure will require some genetic mapping first, to ensure proper integration." The next 2 days were filled with pre-operative tests and preparations. Kyle met with specialists from 3 different species, each contributing expertise to different aspects of the procedure. Dr. Zivex supervised it all, explaining each step with patience. "The neural mapping is the most critical component," he told Kyle as a Selenian neurologist created a 3-dimensional projection of Kyle's nervous system. "It will allow you to have sensory feedback from the new limb temperature, pressure, texture." "Will it feel normal?" Kyle asked. "Define normal," Dr. Zivex replied. "It will feel like a part of you if that is what you mean. But the sensations may be more acute than what you remember from your original limb." On the morning of the procedure, Kyle found himself in a preparation room, wearing a medical gown and trying to control his nerves. Dr. Ilara entered, followed by Dr. Zivex and 2 other specialists Kyle had met during his preparation. "Are you prepared, Mr. Jackson?" Dr. Ilara asked. Kyle nodded. "As I'll ever be." "The anesthetic we will use is designed specifically for human physiology," Dr. Zivex assured him. "You will feel no discomfort during the procedure. And afterward?" Kyle asked. "Some discomfort is unavoidable," Dr. Ilara admitted, "but nothing comparable to what you experienced with your original injury." Kyle took a deep breath. "Let's do this." The anesthetic took effect quickly, and Kyle's consciousness faded. His last thought was of the battlefield where he had lost his original leg, and how far he had come since then. When Kyle awoke, he was in a recovery room. The ceiling was the soft blue color used throughout the medical bay, designed to be soothing to most species' visual perception. "Welcome back," came Dr. Zivex's voice from beside him. Kyle turned his head to see the surgeon standing nearby, monitoring his vital signs. "How did it go?" Kyle asked, his voice rough. "Excellently," Dr. Zivex replied, his colors bright with satisfaction. "The integration was more successful than we anticipated. Your body has accepted the new limb with minimal immune response." Kyle tried to sit up but felt lightheaded. "Careful, doctor," Zivex cautioned. "The neural integration process is still ongoing. Your brain is forming new pathways to communicate with the limb." Kyle looked down at his body. A light covering obscured his new leg, but he could see the outline beneath it. The shape appeared perfectly human. "Can I see it?" he asked. Dr. Zivex carefully removed the covering, revealing what appeared to be a completely normal human leg. The skin tone matched Kyle's exactly, and even had fine hair matching his natural pattern. Only a thin, silvery line around the upper thigh indicated where the new limb connected to his original tissue. "Try to move your toes," Dr. Zivex instructed. Kyle concentrated, and to his amazement, the toes on his new foot wiggled in response. "I can feel them," he whispered. "I can actually feel them moving. The neural connections are functioning properly." Dr. Zivex confirmed. Over the next few days, your control and sensation will improve dramatically. Kyle stared at the new limb, overwhelmed. After years of living with a prosthetic that was merely functional, the sensation of having a responsive limb again was almost too much to process. "Thank you," he said finally, looking up at Dr. Zivex. "I don't know what else to say." The alien surgeon's colors shifted to a deep, warm blue. "Your gratitude is noted, but unnecessary. This exchange of knowledge benefits us all. Your insights into human trauma response during yesterday's emergency saved lives. This procedure is merely an exchange." But they both knew it was more than that. Recovery proceeded rapidly. By the third day, Kyle was able to stand and take a few tentative steps. The sensation was extraordinary. He could feel the temperature of the floor, the pressure as he shifted his weight, even the slight texture differences between surfaces. Dr. Zivex supervised his therapy sessions personally, making adjustments to the neural integration protocols as needed. Telex, the younger Nevorian who had initially called Kyle's prosthetic primitive, was now his most enthusiastic rehabilitation assistant. "The integration rate exceeds our projections," Telex reported excitedly during one session. "Human neural plasticity is remarkable." "It's the adaptability that helped us survive on Earth," Kyle explained as he practiced walking. "Humans can adjust to almost anything if we have to." By the fifth day, Kyle was walking normally, and by the seventh, he was cleared to return to duty. His first stop was to visit the miners who were still recovering. Marcus whistled when he saw Kyle walk in without a limp. "Would you look at that? Can't even tell it's not your original." "Feels real too," Kyle told him. "I can feel everything: heat, cold, pressure." "Worth it then?" Marcus asked. Kyle nodded. "Definitely worth it." As the weeks passed, Kyle settled into his role at the medical exchange with renewed energy. The success of his procedure had made him something of a celebrity among the station staff, and other species began approaching Dr. Zivex about similar treatments. "You have become our most effective advertisement," Dr. Zivex told Kyle with what the human had learned to recognize as amusement. "3 other species have inquired about limb replacement procedures since your recovery." "Happy to help," Kyle replied. "Though I'm still getting used to some things. The sensations are sometimes more intense than I remember." "Your brain continues to adjust," Dr. Zivex explained. "The enhanced neural receptors in the limb provide more detailed sensory information than your original nervous system. Some patients report that this heightened awareness eventually extends to their original limbs as well, as the brain adapts to processing the enhanced input." Kyle was fascinated by the implications. "So this technology doesn't just replace what was lost, it can actually improve on the original." "Precisely," Dr. Zivex confirmed. "This is why the exchange of medical knowledge between species is so valuable. Each brings unique perspectives and solutions." 1 month after his procedure, Kyle received a communication from Earth. His application to extend his assignment at the exchange station for another year had been approved. He shared the news with Dr. Zivex as they collaborated on a research paper about human trauma response. "Excellent news," the surgeon replied. "Your contributions have been invaluable, and there is much more we can learn from each other." Kyle nodded, thinking about how much had changed in his life since arriving at the station. "I've been thinking about that war a lot lately, the one where I lost my leg." "Oh." Dr. Zivex's colors shifted to a pattern indicating interest. "Yeah, about how it started because people couldn't figure out how to share resources." Kyle gestured around the station. "But here, different species from all over the galaxy manage to work together, share knowledge, help each other." The path to cooperation is rarely simple, Dr. Zivex observed. My species fought devastating wars before learning this lesson, as did the Selenians, the Draci, and most others represented on this station. I guess some lessons have to be learned the hard way, Kyle said. Indeed, but they are learned eventually. Dr. Zivex's colors shifted to a pattern Kyle had come to associate with determination. Which is why stations like this exist, to ensure that the knowledge gained through such difficult experiences is not wasted. 6 months into his extended assignment, Kyle received an unexpected request. A diplomatic delegation from Earth was visiting the station, including military officials interested in the medical exchange program's technology. They specifically requested to meet with you, Dr. Alara informed him, as the first human recipient of our advanced prosthetic technology. The delegation arrived 2 days later. Kyle was surprised to recognize one of the officers, General Laura Martinez, who had commanded his medical unit during the Resource Wars. "Commander Jackson," she greeted him formally. "It's been a long time." "It's just Kyle now, General," he replied. "I left the service after my medical discharge." She nodded, her eyes dropping briefly to his legs. "So I see you've been making the most of your assignment here." "You could say that." Kyle gestured to his leg. "Nevorian biotechnology works better than the original." The general looked impressed. "That's actually why we're here. Earth's Veterans Affairs Department is interested in possibly establishing a formal exchange for prosthetic technology. Thousands of veterans from the Resource Wars could benefit." Kyle felt a surge of emotion, hope mixed with lingering bitterness. "That would have been nice 7 years ago when I was learning to walk again." The general had the grace to look uncomfortable. "I know, the war. It wasn't our finest hour. But we're trying to make amends, to take better care of those who served." Dr. Zivex, who had been standing quietly nearby, stepped forward. "Perhaps Mr. Jackson could provide a demonstration of the technology's capabilities, and I would be happy to explain the medical principles involved." The demonstration was arranged in one of the station's research labs. Kyle performed a series of physical tests showing the leg's strength, flexibility, and responsiveness. The Earth officials watched with growing excitement as Dr. Zivex explained the neural integration technology. "The key advancement is not merely the replacement of function," the alien surgeon explained, "but the restoration and enhancement of sensation. Mr. Jackson has full tactile perception." "It's true," Kyle confirmed. "I can feel textures, temperature, pressure, everything a natural limb would sense, maybe even more clearly. And the recovery time is remarkably short," Dr. Zivex added. 7 days until basic function is restored compared to months with conventional Earth prosthetics." General Martinez looked genuinely impressed. The applications for our veterans would be life-changing. After the demonstration, Kyle found himself alone with the general in the station's observation lounge. "I remember when you were brought in," she said quietly. "After the landmine. The medics didn't think you'd make it." "I was lucky," Kyle replied. "A lot of civilians in that region weren't." The general nodded grimly. "The war was a mistake, Kyle, a resource dispute that spiraled out of control because of politics and fear." She gazed out at the stars. "Being out here, seeing what's possible when different species work together, it puts our Earth conflicts in perspective." "That's what I've been learning here," Kyle agreed. "Different beings, different biologies, different histories, but we find ways to help each other, to share what we know." "We'd like you to help coordinate the prosthetics exchange program," the general said suddenly. "Once it's established, you understand both sides, the military experience and the alien technology." Kyle was surprised by the offer. "I'll have to think about it." "Of course." She handed him a data chip. All the details are here, but no rush. Your work here is important too. After the Earth delegation departed, Kyle sought out Dr. Zivex in his research laboratory. The alien surgeon was examining tissue samples through a holographic magnification field. They offered me a position, Kyle told him, coordinating a prosthetics program for war veterans. Dr. Zivex's colors shifted thoughtfully. An important role, will you accept? I'm not sure, Kyle admitted. Part of me wants to help other veterans get the same chance I had, but another part has found purpose here, Dr. Zivex finished for him. Yeah, Kyle leaned against a laboratory table. When I first came to this station, I was still angry about the war, about losing my leg. I took the assignment to get away from Earth, honestly. And now I see bigger possibilities. Kyle looked down at his leg, then back at the alien who had given him this second chance. You remember that first day when you asked how I lost my leg? You said you lost it in a war, Dr. Zivex recalled. Your tone suggested you did not wish to discuss it further. I didn't, Kyle agreed. Back then, it was still a raw wound, not just physically, but everything it represented, the waste of it all, the pointlessness. Dr. Zivex set aside his work, giving Kyle his full attention. And now I see that even that experience led to something valuable. If I hadn't lost my leg, I wouldn't be here, wouldn't be part of this exchange that could help thousands of others. Kyle smiled slightly. Funny how things work out. Indeed, Dr. Zivex agreed. My people have a saying, no knowledge is wasted, only waiting for its purpose to be revealed. Kyle considered this. I like that. I think I'll help set up the exchange program, but I want to stay based here, be the bridge between both worlds. An excellent solution, Doctor. Zivex said, his colors brightening. And perhaps in time, the technology we develop together will ensure that fewer beings lose limbs in conflicts over resources. That's the dream, isn't it? Kyle said. To learn enough from our mistakes that we stop repeating them. 1 year after his procedure, Kyle stood in the new prosthetic technology exchange wing of the station. The facility had been expanded specifically to accommodate the growing program for Earth veterans and civilians needing advanced limb replacements. Marcus, the miner whose life Kyle had helped save, was now working as a patient liaison, helping new human arrivals adjust to life on the station. He approached Kyle with a grin. New batch arriving today, he reported. 20 veterans from the resource wars and 10 civilians from the Oceania flooding disaster. Let's make sure they're settled in properly, Kyle replied. First impressions matter. The transport shuttle docked, and Kyle was there to greet the new arrivals. Many looked apprehensive, some openly nervous about the alien environment. All had visible prosthetics or mobility aids of Earth manufacture. Welcome to the Galactic Medical Exchange Station, Kyle greeted them. My name is Kyle Jackson. Like many of you, I came here as a veteran who had lost a limb in service. He gestured to his leg. This is Nevorian biotechnology, integrated with my own genetic material. Within 2 weeks, each of you will have the opportunity to receive similar procedures, custom-tailored to your specific needs. A woman in the front of the group looked skeptical. And what's the catch? What do these aliens get out of fixing us up? Knowledge, came Dr. Zivex's voice as he entered the reception area. We learn from your unique physiology and adaptive capabilities, while you benefit from our technological advancements. A fair exchange, I believe. The woman seemed taken aback by the alien's direct answer. Kyle smiled. This is Dr. Zivex, chief surgeon of the exchange program and the doctor who performed my procedure. You'll find that Nevorians are refreshingly straightforward. Indeed, Dr. Zivex agreed, his colors shifting in a pattern that Kyle now recognized as his version of a smile. "We have prepared individual consultation rooms where each of you will meet with a medical team to discuss your specific requirements." As the new arrivals were guided to their consultations, Dr. Zivex remained beside Kyle. "A satisfying development, is it not?" the alien surgeon observed. "From one human with a prosthetic leg to a program that will help thousands." "It's more than I ever expected," Kyle admitted. "When I first sat in your examination room and you stared at my prosthetic leg, I had no idea where it would lead. When you told me you had lost your original limb in a war, I recognized something familiar," Dr. Zivex said. "Not the specific conflict, but the experience of beings trying to rebuild after suffering. It is a universal constant, I fear." "Maybe," Kyle agreed. "But so is the drive to heal, to improve, to find meaning in what happened." He gestured around the bustling exchange wing. "This is proof of that." Dr. Zivex's colors shifted to a deep, satisfied blue. "In my culture, we have a concept called rekindling, the idea that from the remnants of destruction, new growth emerges, often stronger and more resilient than what came before." Kyle thought about his journey from battlefield medic to wounded veteran to interspecies medical liaison. About how losing his leg had ultimately led him to this place where he could help others while building bridges between worlds. "I like that concept," he said finally. "Rekindling. It fits." Together, they watched as the new patients moved through the intake process, each carrying their own stories of loss, but now also carrying the possibility of something new. "You know," Kyle said, "sometimes I still feel phantom sensations from my original leg. Even with this perfect replacement, there's still an echo of what was lost." "That is natural," Dr. Zivex replied. "Memory exists not only in the mind but in the body. The echo reminds you of your journey." Kyle nodded. "I wouldn't want to forget. Even the painful parts helped make me who I am now." "A wise perspective," Dr. Zivex said. "Now shall we begin today's consultations? There is much work to be done." "Lead the way, Doc," Kyle replied, walking forward on his alien-made leg toward a future neither of them could have imagined when they first met, when an alien surgeon stared at a prosthetic leg, and a human said, "Lost the original in a war."